Life often feels like an unending battle of decisions, commitments, and pressures. Among the most powerful and yet challenging decisions we make is saying no. This small two-letter word carries immense weight, shaping the course of our daily actions and ultimately our entire lives. Yet we avoid it, dance around it, and hesitate to use it. Instead, we often say yes out of obligation, guilt, or fear of missing out, even when deep down we know that we should decline. Every time we say yes to something that doesn't align with our values or purpose, we are, by default, saying no to the things that truly matter. This unconscious habit, one that seems harmless in the moment, gradually chips away at our time, energy, and peace of mind, leaving us exhausted, overwhelmed, and disconnected from what's truly important. In today's fast-paced world, the ability to say no has never been more critical. We live in an era where distractions are not just prevalent, but pervasive. Social media, emails, notifications, constant obligations, and the unspoken pressure to keep up with everyone else consume our attention. Our time, once a precious commodity, is now diluted by endless demands, leaving little room for reflection, peace, or purposeful action. The Stoics, philosophers from ancient Rome and Greece, understood this struggle all too well. They knew that mastering the art of saying no was essential to living a meaningful and intentional life. This wisdom is as relevant now as it was over 2,000 years ago. In fact, it might be even more crucial in the modern world. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers and the ruler of the vast Roman Empire, understood the importance of focus and simplicity in life. Despite the enormous responsibilities on his shoulders, he frequently reminded himself of the need to strip away the unnecessary. "You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life," he wrote. This reflection serves as a powerful reminder that life doesn't need to be complicated. By eliminating the non-essential, we create space for what truly matters. Today, we're going to explore this very idea, how you can reclaim your time and energy by learning to say no to the things that don't align with your purpose. But before we dive into the practical wisdom of the Stoics, let's pause for a moment. If you find value in what we're discussing, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might benefit from these timeless lessons. Your support allows us to continue bringing you content that helps you lead a more intentional, focused life. Now, let's dig deeper into how saying no can transform your life. At the heart of learning to say no is self-awareness. Without self-awareness, it's impossible to make thoughtful decisions about how to spend your time. The Stoics believed that self-awareness is the foundation of a purposeful life. If you don't know what truly matters to you, if you lack clarity about your core values and goals, how can you expect to make wise choices about where to invest your time and energy? Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, famously wrote, "The soul which has no fixed purpose in life is lost. To be everywhere is to be nowhere." This sentiment captures a truth that resonates with so many of us today. How often do we feel scattered, pulled in every direction by demands, distractions, and obligations, only to end up feeling unfulfilled at the end of the day? When you don't have a clear sense of purpose, every request or opportunity can feel equally important. This is why so many of us struggle with overcommitting. Without a strong internal compass, we say yes to things that don't deserve our attention. We allow ourselves to be swept along by the current of life, reacting to whatever comes our way, rather than proactively choosing our path. But this is where the Stoics provide us with a solution. They teach us that self-awareness is the key to living deliberately, to making conscious choices about where to direct our energy and focus. So, how do we develop this essential self-awareness? One of the most effective tools the Stoics used to cultivate self-awareness was journaling. Marcus Aurelius, in his famous personal writings known as Meditations, reflected daily on his actions, his thoughts, and his intentions. He would ask himself what he had done well, where he had fallen short, and how he could improve. This practice of self-reflection allowed him to maintain a clear sense of purpose, despite the overwhelming responsibilities of ruling an empire. Journaling forces us to slow down and examine our lives with a critical eye. It helps us identify patterns in how we spend our time and energy, and whether those patterns align with our values and goals. If you want to develop greater self-awareness, start by incorporating a journaling practice into your daily routine. Take a few minutes each morning or evening to reflect on your actions. Ask yourself, what did I say yes to today? Did it align with my purpose? What did I say no to, and how did it feel? Over time, this simple practice will sharpen your ability to make decisions that serve your larger goals and protect your time from being wasted on things that don't matter. Another critical aspect of self-awareness is understanding the why behind your actions. Why do we say yes to things that don't serve us? Often, it's because of societal pressures, the fear of disappointing others, or the fear of missing out. We've been conditioned to believe that being busy equals being productive, but this is a dangerous myth. The Stoics teach us to strip away these external pressures and focus on what we can control: our decisions, our actions, and our mindset. When you say no to things that don't align with your purpose, you are reclaiming control over your life. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to concentrate every minute like a Roman, that is, to give his full attention to whatever task was in front of him with precise and genuine seriousness. This powerful message speaks to the importance of focus. When you're clear on what truly matters, it becomes easier to give your full attention to the task at hand and say no to everything else. Distractions lose their grip on you when you know your path. Now, let's take this concept of self-awareness and put it into practice. The next time someone asks for your time or energy, don't rush to respond. Instead, pause. Before automatically saying yes, ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? Is this the best use of my time and energy? If the answer is no, then you are allowed to decline, gracefully but firmly. By saying no to what doesn't matter, you are making space for the things that do. This doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. The Stoics were very clear that wisdom isn't about pleasing everyone, it's about living in accordance with your highest values. This brings us to another fundamental Stoic principle: self-discipline. Saying no requires discipline, not just willpower. Self-discipline is the ability to stay true to your purpose, even when distractions or temptations arise. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last." This isn't a call to live with urgency or anxiety, but rather a reminder to treat each decision with care and seriousness. When you commit to something that aligns with your purpose, give it your full attention. When something doesn't serve your purpose, don't be afraid to decline it. Self-discipline also requires the ability to resist distractions that seem appealing in the moment, but detract from your long-term goals. Imagine this scenario. You're working on a project that's deeply important to you, but suddenly, a friend invites you to a social event. In that moment, the event might sound fun, and you might feel the urge to say yes out of habit or fear of missing out. But if that event doesn't align with your priorities or help you move toward your goals, saying no becomes an act of self-discipline. You're not just declining an invitation, you're affirming your commitment to something more important. Saying no isn't about deprivation, it's about protecting what's most valuable: your time, energy, and focus. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. By learning to say no, you are creating space for what truly matters. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Time is more valuable than any material possession, yet we often give it away without much thought. Learning to say no is how we guard our time for the things that align with our purpose. One of the biggest challenges to self-discipline is impulse control. How many times have you found yourself agreeing to something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? The Stoics teach us to create a buffer between stimulus and response. Before you say yes or no, take a moment to reflect. Is this aligned with my purpose? Is this something I want to invest my time and energy in? Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, often used the metaphor of an athlete to explain the importance of mental discipline. Just as an athlete must train consistently to build physical strength, we must practice saying no consistently to build mental discipline. At first, it might feel uncomfortable or unnatural, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Eventually, you will develop the mental muscle to prioritize what's truly important without hesitation. Another key aspect of Stoic self-discipline is fortitude, the ability to endure discomfort for the sake of a higher purpose. Let's face it, saying no isn't always easy. It can mean disappointing people, turning down opportunities, or missing out on something fun in the short term. But fortitude, or strength of mind, allows you to weather these discomforts and remain committed to your path. As Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. The path to self-mastery takes time, patience, and perseverance." Finally, remember that self-discipline is a form of self-respect. When you say no to things that don't serve you, you are respecting your time, your energy, and your purpose. You are affirming that your goals and values are worth protecting. This is why self-discipline is so powerful. It's not about restricting your life. It's about freeing yourself from unnecessary burdens so you can focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, despite being one of the most powerful figures in history, constantly reminded himself and others of the importance of how we use our time. He famously wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is a powerful reminder that life is short and our time on this earth is limited. The Stoics used this reality, what they called memento mori, remember you must die, to fuel their focus on what truly matters. In our modern lives, it's easy to get caught up in the illusion that we have endless tomorrows. We tell ourselves, "I'll focus on what matters later," or "I'll get to that important project when things slow down." But life moves fast, and if we don't protect our time, it gets consumed by distractions and obligations that don't really matter. Marcus Aurelius, even amidst his responsibilities as emperor, urged himself to concentrate every minute on what was in front of him with genuine seriousness. When you're clear on what truly matters, you can focus fully on the present, letting go of distractions. Seneca echoed this sentiment when he said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." We often guard our money and possessions carefully, yet we give away our time, the most valuable resource, without much thought. This is a mistake. Time is finite, and learning to say no is how we protect it. In your daily life, every small decision matters. Every time you're faced with a request or an opportunity, ask yourself, is this worth my time? Does this contribute to my purpose, or is it just another distraction? By doing this consistently, you'll begin to live with more intention and focus. Saying no isn't easy, but it is necessary for living a life of purpose. We often feel obligated to say yes because we don't want to disappoint others or miss out on opportunities. But the truth is, every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that is important. Your personal growth, your health, your family, or your peace of mind. The Stoics teach us that we can't be everything to everyone. We must prioritize and protect our time if we want to live a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advised himself to ask, "Is this necessary at every moment?" This simple question is a powerful tool for decision-making. By asking yourself, "Is this necessary?" before committing to anything, whether it's a new task, a favor, a meeting, or even checking your phone, you force yourself to reflect on whether this action adds value to your life. If it doesn't, it's a distraction, plain and simple. The Stoics understood that life is full of temptations to stray from the path of virtue and purpose. They called these distractions indifferents, things that are neither inherently good nor bad, but can lead you astray if you give them too much importance. Social obligations, trivial tasks, or even chasing wealth and status can all be distractions if they don't align with your personal goals and values. By asking, "Is this necessary?" you are practicing prohairesis, the Stoic concept of deliberate choice, and asserting control over how you spend your time and energy. Let's consider some real-life examples of how you can apply this principle. Imagine you've been invited to a networking event. On the surface, it sounds like a great opportunity to meet new people and make connections. But you've had a long week, and you had planned to spend that evening resting or spending time with family. Before automatically saying yes, pause and ask yourself, "Is this necessary? Will this event genuinely contribute to my personal or professional growth, or is it just another obligation that will leave me feeling drained?" If the answer is no, then you have permission to decline. Or imagine you're working on an important project and your phone buzzes with a notification. You're tempted to check it, even though you know it will derail your focus. Again, pause and ask, "Is this necessary? Is checking this notification going to help me finish my work or contribute to my overall well-being?" If the answer is no, resist the temptation. By practicing this simple pause and reflection, you are training your mind to stay focused on what truly matters. The power of this question, "Is this necessary?" extends beyond productivity. It's about cultivating mindfulness and intention in everything you do. When you start asking this question in your daily life, you begin to live with more purpose and clarity. You're no longer doing things just because everyone else is, or because you feel obligated to say yes. Instead, you are making conscious decisions that align with your values and priorities. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the importance of living in accordance with nature, which for the Stoics meant living in harmony with your true self, your virtues, your reason, and your purpose. When you ask, "Is this necessary?" you are practicing this principle. You are stripping away the unnecessary, the trivial, and the distracting, so you can focus on living a life of purpose, wisdom, and virtue. But let's be real, saying no can be uncomfortable. We often fear disappointing others, missing out, or being judged. But as the Stoics remind us, we cannot control how others react to our decisions. We can only control our own actions and responses. By asking, "Is this necessary?" you are not only guarding your time and energy, but you are also practicing apatheia, a Stoic concept that involves maintaining a sense of emotional equilibrium regardless of external pressures. Knowing what's important to you is the foundation for every decision you make. If you don't have a clear sense of your values and goals, it becomes incredibly easy to get pulled into activities, commitments, and even relationships that don't serve your higher purpose. Seneca emphasized the importance of clarity in life, saying, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." In other words, if you don't know where you're going, you'll never know which opportunities are worth taking and which ones are distractions. But how do we figure out what's important? The Stoics teach us to start by looking inward. Marcus Aurelius often urged himself to reflect on his actions, writing in his meditations, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." This act of reflection is where the magic happens. You have to take the time to pause, reflect, and truly understand what you care about, what brings you fulfillment, and what aligns with your sense of purpose. One simple way to start is by identifying your core values. These could be things like family, personal growth, integrity, creativity, or helping others. Once you have a list of your top values, use them as a filter for every decision you make. Does this activity, opportunity, or commitment align with these values? If not, then it's probably not worth your time. The Stoics believed that living in accordance with your values was key to living a fulfilling life. Epictetus often taught that we should make your own philosophy, which means creating a set of guiding principles for how you want to live. This is crucial for making decisions about what to say yes or no to. When you're clear about your philosophy, about what's important to you, it becomes much easier to turn down opportunities that don't fit into that framework, even if they seem appealing on the surface. Let's take another real-life example. Imagine you're working toward a big personal goal, like starting a business or learning a new skill, and a friend invites you on a week-long trip. The trip sounds fun, and part of you wants to go, but you know that spending a week away will pull you off course from your goal. Now, without a clear sense of what's important to you, it would be easy to say yes to the trip. But if you've taken the time to reflect on your values, let's say one of your top values is discipline or personal growth, you realize that saying no to the trip is actually saying yes to staying on track with your goals. You're honoring what's most important to you. But here's the catch. Staying true to your values isn't always easy. It can mean saying no to things that are fun or that other people might expect you to do. It might even mean disappointing others. But as the Stoics remind us, we can't control what others think or feel about our decisions. What we can control is whether we are living in alignment with our own values and purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," meaning that the quality of our inner life, the decisions we make, the values we live by, shapes the person we become. Staying true to your values also requires courage. It's easy to say yes to everything and everyone. It's much harder to say no, especially when you feel pressure to please others or conform to societal expectations. But the Stoics teach us that we shouldn't let the opinions of others dictate our actions. As Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Saying no when something doesn't align with your values is an act of self-respect and self-discipline. It's a way of asserting control over your life and ensuring that you are living in accordance with what truly matters to you. So how can you put this into practice? Start by taking some quiet time each day or each week to reflect on what's important to you. This could be through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting in silence. Ask yourself, what do I value most? What kind of person do I want to be? What goals am I working toward? The more clarity you gain around these questions, the easier it becomes to make decisions that support your values and to confidently say no to the things that don't. Figuring out what's important to you and staying true to your values is about living with intention. It's about making conscious choices that reflect the person you want to be and the life you want to live. By doing this, you're not just saying no to distractions, you're saying yes to a life of purpose, meaning, and integrity. The Stoics believed that this is the path to true fulfillment, and I couldn't agree more. Life is too short to fill with things that don't matter. Every time you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what nourishes your soul and drives your purpose. In conclusion, the ability to say no is not just a skill, but a fundamental part of living a life of purpose, clarity, and intention. The Stoic philosophy, which has guided some of history's greatest minds, teaches us that mastering this art can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and a more focused, fulfilling existence. Saying no is often perceived as a negative or limiting response, but when viewed through the Stoic lens, it becomes an act of self-respect, wisdom, and empowerment. It is not about shutting ourselves off from opportunities or experiences, but about carefully curating what aligns with our values and contributes to our growth. The modern world, with its constant distractions, relentless demands for attention, and social pressures, makes it harder than ever to protect our time and energy. We are conditioned to equate busyness with productivity and worth, leading us to say yes to far too many things, often to our own detriment. But as the Stoics remind us, time is our most valuable resource. Once it is spent, it cannot be reclaimed. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters, whether that be personal growth, meaningful relationships, or simply peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire, faced countless decisions every day that could easily have pulled him in 1,000 directions. Yet, despite his vast responsibilities, he understood the importance of focus and simplicity. His writings constantly remind us to concentrate on what is essential, to eliminate the noise and clutter from our lives. He urges us to live each moment with intention as if it were our last. This is not a call for urgency, but rather a powerful reminder to treat every decision with care, to align our actions with our highest values. Seneca, another Stoic master, emphasized that life is not inherently short, but that we waste much of it on trivial pursuits. He warned against the dangers of saying yes to every request, every obligation, every distraction that comes our way. According to him, guarding our time is just as important as guarding our material possessions, if not more so. For while we can always acquire more things, we cannot create more time. His essay, On the Shortness of Life, remains a timeless reflection on the importance of using our limited time wisely, on protecting it from being consumed by things that do not serve our greater purpose. Epictetus, perhaps the most practical of the Stoics, constantly reminded his students that we cannot control external events, but we can control our reactions to them. This principle is crucial when it comes to learning how to say no. We often fear the consequences of saying no, fear of disappointing others, missing out on opportunities, or being judged. But Epictetus would urge us to release this anxiety, to recognize that the opinions and reactions of others are beyond our control. What is within our control is how we respond, how we align our actions with our purpose, and how we protect our time and energy from being squandered. The act of saying no is, at its core, an exercise in self-discipline. It requires the fortitude to resist short-term temptations for long-term gain. It demands the courage to disappoint others in order to stay true to oneself. And it calls for the wisdom to recognize that not all opportunities are worth pursuing. When we develop the discipline to say no to distractions, we open up space for what truly matters. We create the conditions for deeper focus, greater clarity, and a more meaningful life. Self-awareness is the foundation of this practice. Without a clear understanding of our values, goals, and purpose, it becomes nearly impossible to make wise decisions about where to direct our time and energy. The Stoics understood this well, which is why they emphasized the importance of reflection and introspection. Marcus Aurelius's daily journaling practice is a perfect example of how self-awareness can be cultivated. By reflecting on his actions, intentions, and values, he was able to stay grounded and focused, even in the midst of ruling an empire. This daily practice of reflection is something we can all incorporate into our lives. Whether through journaling, meditation, or simply taking time each day to pause and reflect, we can develop the self-awareness necessary to make more intentional choices. When we take the time to clarify what truly matters to us, whether it be personal growth, relationships, health, or creativity, we create a mental framework that helps us filter out distractions. With this clarity, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't align with our purpose and yes to the things that do. Saying no is not about being rigid or inflexible. It is about recognizing that we cannot do everything, be everything, or please everyone. It's about understanding that our time and energy are finite resources and that we must be intentional in how we allocate them. When we say no to things that do not serve us, we are not shutting ourselves off from opportunities. Rather, we are creating space for the opportunities that truly matter, the ones that align with our values and contribute to our long-term growth. It is also important to recognize that saying no is an act of kindness, both to ourselves and to others. When we overcommit, when we say yes to too many things, we often end up spreading ourselves too thin. This leads to burnout, stress, and a diminished capacity to show up fully for the things that are truly important. By learning to say no, we protect our well-being and ensure that we have the energy and focus to give our best to the people and projects that matter most. The Stoics remind us that life is fleeting, that our time on this earth is limited. Memento mori, the reminder of our mortality, serves as a powerful motivator to live with intention. When we acknowledge that we have a limited number of days, we become more mindful of how we spend them. We become more discerning about where we invest our time and energy. And we become more willing to say no to the things that don't align with our purpose, knowing that each moment is precious. In the end, the ability to say no is not about deprivation or sacrifice. It is about creating a life that is aligned with our deepest values. It is about living with intention, focus, and purpose. By mastering the art of saying no, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of busyness and distraction. We reclaim our time, protect our energy, and create space for the things that truly matter. The Stoics knew this well, and their timeless wisdom can guide us in making choices that lead to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. So, as you move forward, take the time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Identify your core values and let them guide your decisions. Practice self-discipline, cultivate self-awareness, and have the courage to say no when something does not serve your purpose. Remember that saying no is not an act of selfishness, but an act of wisdom. It is a way of protecting what is most valuable, your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. And in doing so, you create the conditions for a life of clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. If you found value in this exploration of Stoic wisdom, take a moment to reflect on how you can apply these principles in your own life. How can you create more space for what truly matters by saying no to the things that drain you? How can you live with more focus and intention, guided by your core values? As you contemplate these questions, remember that each no brings you closer to the life you're meant to lead, a life of purpose, meaning, and alignment with your highest self. And if this resonates with you, consider sharing these ideas with others who might benefit from the wisdom of the Stoics. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and may you continue to live with purpose and intention every day.